tight ends. Travis Kelce's on bye this week, but I'm going to give you the top 15 tight ends for week 10. The first guy's Darren Waller. Who else would it be? Each and every week it seems like Darren Waller scoring a touchdown. He's getting the job done. He's Derek Carr's favorite target easily. And this week he's got a great matchup versus Denver. So Waller, I could see him go for 15, 20 fantasy points. The second guy's Mr. Consistency, TJ Hockenson. And he's got a good matchup at home versus the Washington football team. Hockenson, he's been catching the ball a lot. He's been the open guy. Now if Golladay don't play again, more targets for Hockenson. He's a big red zone threat. And this is why they drafted him with a top 10 pick last year in the Lions in the NFL draft. So Hockenson, he's probably a top 3 tight end the rest of the way. The targets are there, the fantasy points are there, and that's what you want to see from the tight end position. Number 3, you might be surprised with Dallas Goedart. I'm very high on him this week, even though 2 weeks ago when he came back from injury, he didn't do anything versus the Dallas Cowboys. But now with that extra week of health and the bye week, he's got a good matchup versus the New York Giants. And I could see Goedart go for 80 yards and a touchdown or 2 in this one. He's going to be a main target for Wentz. You know Wentz likes the tight end. Zach Ertz ain't there. Richard Rodgers, he's not going to eat into Goddard's playing time. And now that he's healthy, I think, and that week off, he's going to be good. Number 4 is Eric Ebron. The last few weeks, Ebron's flying up the rankings, and he's got a touchdown, 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games, and I think he's going to find the end zone again. There's so many weapons on that Steeler offense that the attention's not rolled obviously towards Ebron, and he's a perfect goal line threat for that Steeler offense. If it's Ben or Rudolph, it don't matter to me. I think Ebron's still going to put up numbers, 50, 60 total yards, 3-4 catches and a touchdown, something I could see for Ebron. So I got him ranked number 4 at tight end. The number 5 guy's the Rob Gronkowski at Carolina. He's coming off a horrible game, but which Tampa Bay Buck player isn't? He dropped a touchdown last week that he usually puts in his back pocket and dances for 6. But Gronk this week, he's at Carolina. This is a redemption and vengeance game for the Bucks after getting embarrassed in front of everybody on Sunday Night Football last week. I think they're going to come back, like I said, and make a statement, and they're going to have a huge game, dropping 35 to 40 points at Carolina, who we saw last week give up Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs 33 points. So this game's going to be a shootout in Carolina, and I think the Gronk, he's going to have a good one. The next guy's Evan Engram. He's been putting up numbers, and he's getting tons of targets. His last 3 games, 29 targets. So he's a Daniel Jones favorite, is Evan Engram. And this week he's got Philly, who he scored 10.90 fantasy points versus a few weeks ago on that Thursday night game. And Engram, he's going to get open. He's a matchup problem. They're going to force feed him. It seems like he's getting 10 targets a week, and I think he'll get his 12 to 13 fantasy points. So Ingram's number 6. Number 7, Hunter Henry at Miami. He's been struggling this year, but I'm waiting for that breakout game for Henry. He's a guy I said to go out there and buy low this week, and I think he's going to finally perform and have a big game. I know most of the attention's been rolled to Keenan Allen, but Henry, he's a problem for those linebackers. And this week versus Miami, I think he's going to find the end zone, and him and Herbert, they'll improve as the weeks go on. So he's number 7. Number 8's Jimmy Graham. This guy's been pretty solid most of the year. He's top 5 right now in fantasy points for tight ends, and that's hard to find this year. Graham's been on and off many waiver wires this year, and I've been up and down about him, but I picked him up in 2. I'm starting him in both. He's got Minnesota this week on Monday Night Football. Nick Foles trusts him in the red zone and on short yardages play, and tight end's such a crapshoot. If you got Graham, it's not that bad of an option. He'll get you anywhere from 7 to 15 points, it seems like. And this week I could see him getting 40 yards and a touchdown. So Jimmy Graham, I got him in number 8. Number 9's the return of Austin Hooper, who was a Baker Mayfield favorite for 3 weeks before he went down with the appendix injury. And Hooper, he could find the end zone. He's a nice target there for Baker Mayfield. Baker's on the COVID list, so we don't know if he's going to play for sure, but I think Hooper, he's still going to do his thing and get 7 to 10 points for you. Number 10's Jonnu Smith. He's playing tonight versus the Indianapolis Colts, and Smith, I've been down on him the last few weeks, and I got the proof to tell you that. He's had horrible fantasy games. Last week, only 2 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown, and that was in 1 drive. So Tannehill, He's not looking for Smith that much. He's fourth in the pecking order, Smith, like I keep saying. It goes Henry, obviously, then A.J. Brown, Davis now, who came back, and then him. So Smith, I told you to bench him this week. I know there's not many great options, but Smith, I'm only saying he's going to get you 5 to 8 points tonight, and Indianapolis gives up the second least amount of fantasy points to tight ends. So Smith, I don't like him that much this week, but I still got to rank him 10. Number 11's Noah Fant, the guy with injuries the last few weeks. Who knows if he's going to play for sure this week at Vegas, even though that game should be a good shootout and it's indoors. We don't have to deal with the Denver elements. But Fant, he hasn't been healthy all year. There's a lot of options in that Bronco offense now. Judy, Hamler, Patrick. So that ball's been spread out the last few weeks by Drew Lock. But still, Fant, if you have him, you're going to play him. But I just don't have high hopes for him. That's why he's 11. Number 12 is Gerald Everett of the Los Angeles Rams. I think he's the number one tight end over there now. Tyler Higbee's been a disappointment. He only had one monster game, and that was in week 2 with 3 touchdowns versus Philly. Everett, they drafted him high a few years ago for a reason, and the athleticism there is there and the burst for Everett. So Everett, I like him. He's getting better each and every week. He might be even out there still on your waiver wire. So he's a guy I would go out there and get if I could and plug him in at tight end. He's got a great matchup versus Seattle, where we see teams go up and down the field, and I expect nothing less in that new Rams Stadium in a shootout in the NFC West. 13's Mark Andrews. This guy, he's touchdown dependent, and he's a guy that was on my bench list once again this week, and he's versus New England Patriots, who give up the second least amount of fantasy points to tight ends. So I don't see Andrews doing much. You know Belichick's going to try to take him and phase him out of the game and let the receivers like Hollywood Brown and Willie Snead try to beat him. And Andrews, he's been horrible the last few weeks. His targets have been down. His fantasy points have been bad. He's only had 6 fantasy points as a high in the last 3 weeks with back-to-back 4-point games. So Andrews, you can't trust him anymore. And that's why I got him at 13. Number 14, Jared Cook versus San Francisco. Cook, he saw Sanders and Michael Thomas come back last week. So his targets and looks went down, plus fumbling at the end zone didn't help Cook's playing time in this game. So Cook, he's going to take a backseat again this week. He could still maybe get you 30, 40 yards on 4 or 5 catches, but his ceiling's very low for Cook, so I don't like him that much as an option. So he's 14. And the 15th and final guy is Jordan Reed of the San Francisco 49ers. We saw him come back from injury last week. It was just a dud game all around for San Francisco, and Reed, he only finished the game with 1 catch for 8 yards, and this week I'm going to expect more. Another week healthy. I know Dwelly's there too, but George Kittle ain't coming back. Reed's an athlete. They're indoors. I could see Reed have a bounce-back game better than the 1.30 he put up last week, so that's the top 15 tight ends I got on the rankings heading into week 10.